I just had my camera blow out, but I think we're live. Yes?
And I can see you.
Okay, good. Well, first of all, everybody, welcome. This is another one of our incredible founder chats, which I am so excited about. I am a huge fan of Beatrice Dixon. So just a little bit about what we're doing here today, everybody. Basically, you are all familiar, I'm sure, with the Female Founder Collective. And a couple of months ago, we launched the 10th house, which was a way to get even deeper with you as founders, to be able to set you up for success, offering deeper dives into education, intimate access with founders like Beatrice. And I think our goal with all these things is we give you exclusive offers and events, access to investors and funding opportunities, and who needs a community? I do. So anyways, that's the 10th house. I encourage you to join and find out more about it. And if you are a member, please don't forget to join us on the AMA with Beatrice after our chat that we're going to do. So without further ado, welcome. I'm going to give you a brief intro. Beatrice Dixon is the CEO and co-founder of the Honey Pot Company, a plant-derived vaginal wellness line created with the goal of providing humans with vaginas healthy alternatives to traditional feminine care products. So thank you for joining me. And I had the honor of having you on the podcast, but I bow down. I think you're amazing.
Girl, stop. The honor is all mine. Thank you for asking me to be here. I'm grateful.
Awesome. So we'll dive in. Some of these I know the answers to, but I know a lot of people don't. Okay. But you actually have an interesting origin story for the Honey Pot Company. An ancestor appeared in your dreams. Mm-hmm. I would love to know what you were doing before, what you were going through personally, and then what this apparition was that sort of changed your entire life, essentially.
That's funny. So before I got started with Honey Pot, I did a lot of things. I was a pharmacy technician for almost 10 years. I worked for Whole Foods for a few years in the whole body department as a buyer, a merchandiser. I kind of like post starting Honey Pot, I became a food broker. So I've done all kinds of stuff. I've worked for startups, but what I was going through at the time that Honey Pot got started, I was actually working at Whole Foods, and I had an almost year-long stint with bacterial vaginosis.
Can you explain what that is so that people know?
Yeah. So bacterial vaginosis is a vaginal infection that essentially deals with an imbalance of the pH, right? And so pH balance, I believe it needs to be around like 3.8 to 4.8. I've read things that say like 3.5 to 4.5 or 4.8 or whatever. So the vagina needs to be an acidic environment in order for it to be able to thrive, right? When a human has pH balance, a lot of times what happens is some people get reoccurring yeast. Some people get reoccurring BV. Some people are getting reoccurring UTIs, right? My case, I was getting reoccurring bacterial vaginosis because my pH balance was consistently off. And so the bacteria that my vagina was overproducing was essentially the bacteria, and I can't spout them off right now, but essentially the bacteria that are bacterial vaginosis. And so what would happen is every month, right around my period, I would get BV. And this is typical for people that have reoccurring BV. And the reason for that is because when you get your period, what happens is your pH rises because blood is coming down. Blood is typically alkaline, right? So if your pH was already off before it started to rise, then what happens is when it's supposed to get back to normal and come back down, it doesn't get down far enough. And then guess what happens? An infection, right? Vaginas are quite a little bit complicated, but actually quite simple, right? It's like chemistry. It has to stay in these bounds. And once it comes outside of those bounds, it's like free game, But
yep.
And so I had a very good, I had this for almost a year. I would go to the doctor. I would take medicine. I would do everything that you can imagine. Nothing worked. I went to sleep. In the morning, I had a very vivid dream with my grandmother. We were sitting down at a table talking. She hands me a piece of paper. It has a list of ingredients. And, and she told me to memorize them in the dream. And that's what I did. And so when I woke up, it was so real that I woke up saying the ingredients. I wrote them down to remember them. I made them within a few days. I started using them 4 to 5 days after using, because I had BV at the time. Everything that I had went away.
Wow. And that's incredible.
Yep. Sitting on the toilet, going pee, smelling my vagina, and was like, huh. Okay. Honestly.
Yeah, I love it.
But Rebecca, that was the moment. That was the moment where I was like, oh, like this is what I'm doing now for forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you take an idea, and I know so many of our founders, or so many people who want to be a founder, have an idea, and then bringing it to life, making a company. That's a whole other, you could have just said, I am going to make this for me and maybe share with my friends. So what was that leap for you like?
It was fun and it was interesting. Because I had to. First off, I didn't want to just put something out into the world that hadn't been used on multiple people, right?
Yeah.
In the moment that I decided, which it's very important for me to be detailed about that moment that I decided, because that's a very real moment. Because people that have BV are consistently smelling themselves, so overactive, so like trying to figure out what's going on, right? Because you're so used to your body being out of whack.
Yeah.
And so because of that passion, it never was just about me.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I was doing was getting on forums and talking to people and seeing what they were going through. We were all going through the same thing. So at that moment, realizing that I wanted to do this for like human with vagina kind, essentially, I basically for like a year and a half, I would just make product and I would give it away because I wanted to see. I made this in my kitchen. I didn't have a chemist. I didn't have, it wasn't sophisticated. It was simple. I mean, it was my version of sophisticated, right? But sorry about the phone. Let me just hold on. So stop. Hi, I'm doing a speaking engagement. I'll have to call back. I have to go, honey. I have to go. Sorry. So yeah, so I would make it in my kitchen. I would give it away, and that was my version of a clinical trial. And I did that for a year and a half. And I got a lot of intel from that, right? We learned that because
you had an early focus group.
Had an early focus group because it couldn't be too strong. It couldn't be too weak. Right. But then I realized there were people that were super ultra sensitive. And then there were people whose vaginas could just take it. Right. Who just wanted like the normal original formula. And so that's how we ended up developing a couple of different formulas. And then we launched, which is a different time now because there aren't really a lot of trade shows and things like that are happening right now. But when we did it, that was really how we got out into the world. We went to festivals. We went to trade shows. Our first trade show where we launched was the Bronner Brothers Hair Show. And then we just got on that circuit. Like we would do the Natural Hair Show, the Bronner Brothers, the Ubiquitous, whatever festival, wherever we could get our hands and get in front of thousands of people over a couple of days, like we were with it. And then we got into Whole Foods, but we were only in like one Whole Foods, but it didn't matter because we could say we were in Whole Foods,
Right.
And so, so it was just a grind. It was just a hustle,
So you keep saying we, which leads me to believe that you early on knew the power of a team.
Yes.
You've even talked about your ability to scale so quickly was your ability to maintain team morale, And I know a lot of founders out there. I just had a 2-hour long conversation with my partners. How do we increase morale?
Yeah.
What do you do to establish and maintain team morale during such an unsteady growth stage? Like the beginning is so unsteady, and then it can get unsteady again later on with different challenges.
Yeah. We obviously we didn't have a lot of money, so we would give equity. In the beginning, none of us made any money. None of us even had an equity contract, which was crazy. But
Same.
Yeah, like it was just like, you get it and
You're just trying to keep the wheels on the bus, okay?
You're just trying to keep the wheels going round and round, and so it was literally just like hustle grind, mode. Yeah. Like there was it was just guerrilla hustle grind mode. Whatever we had to do, if you got involved, a lot of people came and left in the beginning. Now we're at the place where people are consistent and they stay and they've been here for years, and we don't have a high turnover rate, but then it was just like just getting people involved with the mission and getting people involved with what we were trying to do. And a lot of, whenever we would really have a team, it was when we were doing an event or a show, because that's when we would bring people out, and that's when we could afford to pay somebody. Right. And so, so it was then if I'm honest, it wasn't that we weren't thinking about building morale. It was like, we got to get this shit off the ground.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
And, but now is a different time, right? Today, morale has to be built. Culture has to be built. Family has to be built, right? Like, honesty, loyalty, and not loyalty in a toxic way, but loyalty in that I'm always going to choose my team. If it's between, I'm just always going to go with what my team wants to do. Right. Like sometimes you have a vendor and you have a really great relationship with them. Right. Especially if they're vendors that have been with us for a long time when we were much smaller, because we just grew like crazy in the last couple of years. Right. And not that you understand what I'm saying. So, so sometimes you'll have a vendor and, they'll try to like etch you along because they've been working with you for a long time. It's like, no. Like, what did the person that you're dealing with say, right? And I'm always going to choose my team, what they want, because they're the ones that are doing the work. They're the ones that are vetting things out. And so, so it's more like loyalty from that point of view. So now morale is wickedly important because we run a remote company.
Yeah.
Right now, right? For the last couple of years.
Like, even before the pandemic, you ran a remote company?
No, like with the pandemic.
Oh, right, because it's been a couple of years at this point.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I was going to swear, but then I realized what platform we're on, and I'm not going to do that.
I'm sorry, I did. I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Hopefully the LinkedIn Live moderators don't flag this as inflammatory. But we're being honest. Okay, so loyalty, working with your team. I think it's so great that you highlighted the fact that, in the beginning you're trying to keep the wheels on the bus, and it's almost like I remember going, yeah, I want to think about culture, but like every day there's a fire. And so what I felt like I said to my team is, I need your help to create this culture. It's not on me to deem this is the culture. It's like, what do we want and how do we all create it? Because you can't just rely on one person to create the culture for us.
Culture is natural, man.
Yeah.
Culture isn't trying.
Yeah.
It just is. That's why there's no other place in the world like New York City, because there's so much culture here.
Right.
Like it knows what it is. And I feel like authenticity is natural. It knows what it is. It's not trying to be anything.
Right.
So I think it's really important for us to do you hear that echo?
It just started.
Okay. But I just think that it's really important that we know that it
Yeah.
will happen. You don't have to force it.
Yeah. So outside of leading teams, what else as far as mindset and leadership style have been things that have helped you be successful? And also, what do you then look for in your key positions so that they can adopt that mentality, or you know, what you lack that they have that you're also looking to invest in?
Yeah. Should you mute it, Rebecca?
Yes.
Maybe is, is that okay? That's better. That's what. Okay. So my leadership style is probably maybe different than most people's. I don't hire I won't say what I don't do. We only hire humans that we know can do the job, that we can trust, that can pick it up and move it, right? I don't need humans here like, we're all here for coaching, we're all here for learning, because everybody's learning. But it's really important that whatever the position is within the company, that you understand it, right? Especially when we're talking about leadership positions, because I'm not a micromanager, right? Um, I don't want to be micromanaged, so I don't micromanage, right? And I also like to let people show me who they are, right? So it's really important that you illustrate that you can pick something up off the ground, because the kind of human that I am, if I need to do something, nobody has to tell me what I need to do, right? I'm going to get up, I'm going to get myself together. If I know that there's something that I need to do, I know how to do it, I'm an expert at it. Nobody has to give me the get up and go to get there on time, to make sure that I'm prepared, to make sure that I'm asking the right questions, right? I'm a professional, so I'm here for it. And I only like to work with humans that operate that way. And that is not just leadership team, that's leadership team all the way to the person who works in the office that mails out our samples. And it's really important to me that people are entrepreneurs, meaning that they may work for a company, but they're entrepreneurial, right? Because you have to have hustle, you have to have drive, you have to have focus, you have to be able to also just be a human. I'm open to people making mistakes, because mistakes happen. There's nothing you can do about that, right? I don't need perfection, because that doesn't exist. I don't need control, because control is an illusion, right? I have a respect for things that people can't control. And so if you can't control it, and something's bad that's going on in the market, I'm not going to give you, I'm trying to not say cuss words. But I'm not going to give you trouble or be upset because something happened that you weren't in control of, right? If something happened that you were in control of, then we need to look at that and understand how we're not going to kind of go down this road again, right? But and it's not just me. I think me and my leadership team, we're all very humble. We're all very human. We're all, super cool level, and we all want the same thing. And I think that is the most important thing. What is it that we want? From the top down, when you're thinking about what I want to run a very clean, healthy, efficacious, human focused, loving, humble business. I want it to grow to a ridiculous place, which we're doing. I want to be wickedly successful. I want to take market share, not because I'm trying to steal it from my competitors, but because this is business and this is what it is, right? But I want to do it clean. I want to do it the best that we can possibly do it. And that takes time, and that takes effort, and that takes having people on your team that want the same thing. And if you don't want the same thing, it's going to reveal itself. And honeypot probably just isn't the place for you, you know?
I'm gonna steal that and give that speech to my team.
Do
I think it's so important what you underline, and I think for any business, frankly, and that you have those entrepreneurs on board with you. The best people we have had are entrepreneurs. They have that spirit. They're like, oh, something left hanging, I got it. And it's really it's passing the baton, and that person knows how to grab it, or knows that you're struggling and preemptively goes to reach out their hand. So
exactly. And I want to say one last thing. People that aren't wrapped up in titles. I don't care about a title, even mine. Right? Like we are all here to do a job and get it done. For me, it needs to be about that,
Yeah, agreed. So speaking of being able to scale successfully, because you said you are growing huge and you are going to make a lot of money and you are going to have an exit at some point if you want that. When do you know how to pivot? Because I think some founders are like, I just have to keep going. They said, just keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up. Like pivot is a bad word, which it's not. There's so many successful companies.
Word.
It doesn't mean you failed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at Airbnb or Instagram. They were both totally different things when they started. So when do you know, and it's important to pivot, and where to apply pressure if you don't need a pivot, or you see it's a hole and you say it's time to let this go, or I got to try something new?
I think that every founder understands and knows when something is not working. And if you've been doing the same thing for a few years and it still hasn't done what you needed to do, it's time to pivot, right? Yeah. That doesn't mean that you need to quit, but that does mean that you might need to figure out something else, right? Yeah. So, I think that pivot is a really great word, because a lot of people, I mean, Rebecca, look at what you and your team were able to do this in like a matter of months. And me and you both know so many people that were running
I need to pivot my lack of sleep. That's what I need to do.
But we both know so many people that were running companies that had to literally turn their company into a virtual company. And there's so many conversations that I've been in where they're like, we developed this new app that turned out amazing, by the way, in like 3 weeks or some crazy thing like that. Because when you have to pivot, when it needs to work, there is no other option.
Right.
And another place where pivot is a good word is when you're raising money, right? Because when you're raising money, you are completely not in control. Completely. You're going to hear no so many times. You're going to hear yes so many times. And then the yes is going to turn into a no.
Yep. Just kidding. I don't want to date you out. I don't want to get married after all. I'm going to leave you at the altar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You've given all the paperwork. You've gone through diligence. You've done everything. And then they're like, I don't think that this is going to work. You know what I mean? And so you literally have to like die to it instantly and keep moving. Because in business, nobody cares. It's business. Right. And I think that that's really important. A lot of times as founders, we think of our business, our products, our things as founders. You have to look at who the audience is that you're serving to. Right. If you're serving to a customer and they're not picking up what you're putting down, it's time to pivot. If you're serving to a retailer and, a lot of times people are like, I don't want to go into mass because I'm trying to get into, what's it called, Rebecca, prestige? Isn't that what it's called? Because I'm trying to get into
luxury or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Or mass.
I'm trying mastige, know. And they'll be like, well, I don't want to do this because I want to do that. But it's like, yo, you've had 4 conversations over 4 years and it hasn't turned into anything. Why are you wasting your time? That just might not be the place that you need to be. Right. Yeah. So, so for me, I feel like that is actually how we've built our business is in mastering the pivot. And mastering knowing when to seize an opportunity, knowing when to fold, knowing when to move on. And that is an innate thing. That is like that is some animalistic stuff.
Your gut.
That can't be taught, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Right. And it comes with time.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight, and so give yourself grace. Just keep pushing, but understand that don't be stubborn, right? Don't be weird. Like, if something's not working, pay attention. This is your business, man. Like you guys, 55, 65 is approaching. You got to have a retirement plan. You got to. You can't be hustling backwards, just hustling, chugging along, picking up things here and there. Listen, when you get to 40 plus, guess what you're not trying to be doing for the rest of your damn life? You're not trying to be working forever.
So that begs the question. You're very vocal about you started this business to exit. And I get this all the time. Like, are you going to be a designer for the rest of your life and pass this company on to your kids?
No, because that's mean.
Oh my God, I love you. So I love that you're vocal. You're like, I started this business. I want to make a big amount of cash. I want to exit to the right partner. So how does that change how you optimize the business? Because it does change decisions.
It does. But the thing to understand is that just because you exit doesn't mean that you're out of the picture.
Right.
You don't exit and then just be like, peace out, y'all. Right? Like, exiting is when you exit to a strategic, what you have to understand is that's really a continuation of your business.
They want you around for a reason.
They want you around for a reason. And not only that, you want them around for a reason. Yeah. Because if you're an innovator like I am, because I'm an innovation person, I want to look at what's happening and I want to figure out how to make it better, natural, cleaner, more effective, right? I want to, that's what I want to do. And it's easier to do that with resources.
Yeah.
When a strategic, because there's so many ways to exit too. Exits aren't just, the only way to exit is not just through just getting a payout.
Right.
An exit could be, and this is something I'm just starting to learn. It could be that you sell a majority stake of your company and you keep a minority stake of it and you're still running your business, right? Yep. It could be that you just got to pay out and you just go live on a boat and travel the world and do your thing, right? But it means different things to different people. And the way that I see exit, honestly, at this point in my career, is I'm not just going to roll out. Like, I'm going to stick around. I'm going to see this thing through, but I need resources to really, like, if you knew the stuff that I wanted to do, it would blow your mind, the things I want to do, you know, but Honeypot does not have limitless cash. And the things that I want to do cost a lot of money.
Right.
Right. And in order to develop and, and it requires a big team and resources, and it's so much. So, for so long, especially in the Black community, exit could be a bad word, but it's not. It's not selling out.
No.
It's literally like, we want to be able to continue to bring you the best innovation, and the most powerful tools. And in order to do that, you need to partner with a big organization that has billions of dollars that can pour fuel into your business. And so yeah. Plus, I want to get that bread. What am I doing all this shit for if I'm not trying to blow up my bank account? You understand what I'm saying? That's stupid.
Yes, I do, sister. And women should not be ashamed of that. And they should not be ashamed of talking about it either. Mm-hmm. They should be, yes. Yeah. I could talk to you all day, but our time is up.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you. And for everyone tuning in, you can join us if you're part of the 10th house. 12:45, we're going to give you 15 minutes to go online and buy some Honeypot. And I say this with full conviction as a human who menstruates. I have tried a lot of things, and I could share horror stories that I will not share on LinkedIn. And Honeypot is legit. Okay.
Thank you.
That'll be another closed private. Here's everything I've tried and what happened with each one. But honey pot is seriously great. And I know I'm not putting toxic things in my body, but it also holds up, if you know what I mean, people. Yes. So head on over to the Zoom at 12:45. If you're part of the 10th house, get your questions ready. Beatrice has generously offered her time with us today. And I can't thank you enough. You're always incredible. And I can't wait to give you a hug in real life because I love you. I love you, lady.
I'm in New York right now.
I know. I don't know why I didn't think you lived here, and I'm here for like a couple days, but I'm moving back in September, so I will be hunting you down.
Got you. I'm here every month. I don't live here anymore, but
okay.
Okay. We're gonna do it. Thank you guys.
Okay. Bye.
Right. Take care.